When you grow old, 3 types of neighbors to avoid, 3 types of relatives to keep your distance from. As we journey through life, we naturally become more selective about the relationships we nurture and the environments we place ourselves in. In our later years, especially, the need for peace, respect, and meaningful interactions often surpasses the desire for social quantity. Relationships, especially with neighbors and family, play a significant role in our daily lives. They can be sources of comfort and joy, but they can also become sources of stress and emotional drain if they are not balanced and nurturing. For older adults, maintaining this balance becomes particularly essential. With age comes wisdom, but also a deeper need for tranquility. If you're in the golden years of 55 to 80, it's more important than ever to carefully choose who you spend time with, the people you keep in your inner circle, and those you need to keep at a respectful distance. Here's a guide to the types of neighbors and relatives you may want to avoid to preserve your peace of mind and enjoy a more serene life. Part 1. 3 types of neighbors to avoid. As we grow older, our home becomes more than just a place to live, it becomes our sanctuary. After years spent building careers, raising families, and navigating life's many ups and downs, the desire for a peaceful, secure, and quiet environment often becomes paramount. Yet the relationships we maintain in our neighborhoods, especially those with neighbors, can significantly impact the tranquility we aim to preserve. While some neighbors bring comfort and companionship, others can introduce unnecessary stress, disrupt our routines, or create conflicts that disturb the peace we hold dear. For older adults, particularly those aged 55 and above, recognizing and managing difficult relationships is an important part of safeguarding one's well-being. 1. The intrusive gossip. The first type of neighbor to be cautious about is the intrusive gossip. This neighbor goes beyond casual curiosity, prying into others' lives with relentless interest and at times a lack of respect for privacy. They may inquire about your family, health, finances, or even habits in ways that feel intrusive. What makes them particularly concerning is not just their nosiness, but their penchant for spreading information, often exaggerated or even distorted, throughout the neighborhood. This can lead to misunderstandings, unwanted attention, and even conflicts within the community. Impact on your privacy and peace. Privacy is a cherished value, especially as we age and desire a safe, peaceful environment. An intrusive gossip's constant prying can disrupt that peace, making even simple daily routines feel like they're under scrutiny. This type of neighbor may linger near your yard, drop by unexpectedly, or frequently ask questions that seem innocent but are actually a means to gather more personal details. They might even monitor your visitors, inquire about family gatherings, or make offhand remarks about changes you make to your home. Over time, their invasive behavior can make you feel less secure in your own space, knowing that any details shared may become a topic of gossip among others. Philosophy of distance and boundaries. Handling an intrusive gossip requires a delicate balance of politeness and assertiveness. Start by limiting the information you share in conversation. Keep discussions light, sticking to safe, neutral topics like the weather, local events, or shared community concerns. If they press for more details about your personal life, try responding with vague answers or gently changing the subject. Additionally, consider setting physical boundaries as well. If they tend to drop by unannounced, make it clear that you value privacy by politely excusing yourself. Remain friendly but firm, conveying that your boundaries are non-negotiable. Over time, the gossip may come to understand that your life isn't open for discussion, leading them to shift their focus elsewhere. Remember, preserving your peace doesn't mean shutting people out completely. It simply means prioritizing what you're willing to share and when. 2. The self-serving neighbor. Next is the self-serving neighbor, a type who views relationships primarily in terms of personal gain. This neighbor often appears friendly initially, giving the impression of warmth and sociability. However, as time goes on, it becomes clear that their friendliness is conditional, largely motivated by what you can offer them. The self-serving neighbor is likely to ask for frequent favors, ranging from picking up their mail, watering their plants, or looking after their property, while rarely, if ever, offering anything in return. The requests may start small but can escalate over time, leaving you feeling used or even manipulated. Impact on your energy and well-being. Being neighborly often involves lending a helping hand, but when a relationship becomes one-sided, it can start to feel draining. Constantly giving without receiving in return can wear you down, both emotionally and physically. You may find yourself going out of your way to accommodate their needs, only to realize that they seldom extend the same consideration. This can lead to feelings of resentment or frustration, particularly if you value fairness and mutual respect. For older adults who may have less physical energy, or who are managing their own responsibilities, the added burden of helping a self-serving neighbor can feel overwhelming. Philosophy of fairness and assertiveness. Navigating a relationship with a self-serving neighbor involves setting clear boundaries and managing expectations. If you notice that they only approach you when they need something, consider being less readily available for their requests. Politely decline when their demands become too frequent or unreasonable, and don't feel obligated to explain yourself in detail. Remember, your kindness is not something to be taken for granted, nor is it an obligation. Expressing boundaries could be as simple as saying, "I'm not available to help this time," or suggesting alternative solutions that don't involve your direct assistance. By establishing these limits, you preserve your energy for relationships that are mutually supportive and respectful. The self-serving neighbor may eventually recognize that their requests are not an automatic yes, and either begin to reciprocate or seek assistance elsewhere. 3. The disruptive neighbor. The third type of neighbor to be mindful of is the disruptive neighbor. This individual may have habits or a lifestyle that inadvertently or sometimes deliberately interferes with the peace and quiet of the neighborhood. They could be someone who hosts frequent late-night gatherings, plays loud music, or allows their property to fall into disrepair, affecting the shared aesthetics of the community. Additionally, some disruptive neighbors might disregard communal spaces, leaving trash, blocking driveways, or even engaging in activities that create safety concerns. Their actions can disturb the neighborhood's harmony, affecting not just you but the entire community. Impact on your tranquility and health. Noise and disorder can take a significant toll on mental and physical well-being, especially for those who value a serene living environment. Repeated disturbances can lead to stress, disrupt sleep, and erode the sense of security in your own home. Imagine spending a quiet afternoon reading, only to be interrupted by loud music, or returning from a day out to find the shared lawn cluttered with trash. Over time, these disruptions can make it hard to feel at ease, even within the walls of your own home. For older adults who prioritize peace, the stress caused by a disruptive neighbor can lead to anxiety or even resentment, detracting from the comfort of daily life. Philosophy of diplomacy and control. Dealing with a disruptive neighbor often requires a diplomatic approach, especially if you hope to address the issue without creating tension. Begin by addressing the matter in a calm and non-confrontational manner. Express your concerns politely, focusing on how their behavior affects the shared environment rather than criticizing them personally. For example, say, "I wanted to mention that the music at night sometimes makes it hard for me to sleep." Or, "The communal area is important to all of us, and it would be great if we could all keep it tidy." Often, neighbors are unaware of how their actions impact others and may be willing to make adjustments. If a polite conversation doesn't lead to improvement, consider reaching out to a neighborhood association or property manager for assistance. In situations where changes are unlikely, explore ways to protect your own peace. Simple modifications like soundproofing windows, creating a relaxing indoor retreat, or planning quiet outings can help minimize the impact of external noise. Above all, remember that while you may not control your neighbor's actions, you do have control over your environment and how you respond. Your home is your sanctuary, and it's worth every effort to preserve it as a place of comfort and serenity. Embracing the philosophy of boundaries and balance. Building harmonious relationships within a community is not always easy, and it requires a keen sense of balance. While neighborly connections can enrich our lives, it's essential to be mindful of the energy we invest and the boundaries we set. Sometimes, the best way to maintain harmony is through respectful distance. By recognizing and managing these types of neighbors, the intrusive gossip, the self-serving friend, and the disruptive presence, you create space for peace, independence, and well-being. In the end, relationships with neighbors should bring ease rather than strain. A well-chosen distance allows you to remain friendly without compromising your peace. As the old adage goes, good fences make good neighbors. A reminder that clear boundaries help maintain respectful, balanced relationships. Remember, your home is your sanctuary. It deserves to be filled with warmth, security, and tranquility, unclouded by unnecessary stress. Part 2: 3 Types of Relatives to Keep Your Distance From. Family relationships are often the most meaningful and impactful in our lives. Yet not all of them bring the warmth and connection we might wish for. Some relatives, despite the deep bonds and history we share, can disrupt our peace, place undue demands on our resources, or leave us feeling emotionally drained. As we grow older, cultivating a healthy family environment becomes even more essential. It's a time to carefully assess which relationships nurture us and which may need some distance to preserve our well-being. Here are 3 types of relatives who may require a mindful distance, along with insights on how to approach these relationships with a sense of self-respect and personal peace. 1. The borrower who doesn't repay. Financial interactions among family members can be challenging as they intertwine with expectations of trust and support. However, some relatives take advantage of this trust, borrowing money without a genuine intention to repay or showing little gratitude for the assistance. They may rely on the family bond as a reason for leniency, or use it as an excuse for not repaying, knowing that family members are often reluctant to demand repayment. This can create stress and tension, particularly for older adults who are mindful of financial stability and may be living on a fixed income. Impact on your trust and financial security. Money is a sensitive subject in any relationship, and when it's borrowed and not returned, it can strain even the strongest of bonds. The borrower who doesn't repay can cause you to feel betrayed or manipulated, especially if the debt is dismissed or excuses are consistently given. For those in retirement or relying on savings, every financial decision matters, and unpaid debts can impact one's sense of security and peace of mind. The psychological toll of this kind of relationship is just as significant as it may lead you to question the sincerity of the family bond itself. Philosophy of financial boundaries and caution. Setting financial boundaries within the family may feel uncomfortable at first, but it is a necessary step for preserving both relationships and financial security. Before lending money to a relative, consider their past behavior and whether they have shown a commitment to repayment with others. If you do decide to lend, approach it as a business-like arrangement with clear terms and expectations. It may also be helpful to consider alternative ways of supporting your relative that don't involve direct financial assistance, such as helping them access resources or budgeting advice. Protecting your finances is a measure of self-respect, and it also communicates to others that your kindness and support have limits. Choosing not to lend money doesn't mean you don't care. It simply shows that you're prioritizing the health of the relationship over the complications that money can bring. Impact on your resources and peace of mind. Continuously supporting a dependent relative can strain both financial resources and emotional energy. If you find yourself regularly providing financial assistance, covering expenses, or even allowing them to live in your home, you may notice a gradual erosion of your own resources and comfort. This dependency can leave you feeling overwhelmed, as the support you offer becomes increasingly one-sided. It's essential to recognize the toll this takes on your well-being and to address it before it becomes too burdensome. Philosophy of self-sufficiency and boundaries. One of the most important principles to embrace when dealing with a lazy, independent relative is self-sufficiency. Encouraging them to take responsibility for their own needs, whether financial or personal, can be a significant step toward healthier family dynamics. Setting clear boundaries around what you are and are not willing to provide can help prevent feelings of resentment or burnout. Philosophy of self-sufficiency and boundaries, Kant. Encouraging them to take responsibility for their own needs, whether financial or personal, can be a significant step toward healthier family dynamics. Setting clear boundaries around what you are and are not willing to provide can help prevent feelings of resentment or burnout. For instance, you might say, I can't support you financially anymore, but I can help you look for resources that might help. It's also important to remember that while families should support one another, enabling dependency doesn't serve anyone in the long run. This approach ensures you aren't overwhelmed by their lack of initiative, while still offering them the opportunity to take charge of their lives. As we age, it becomes increasingly important to foster healthy relationships, whether with neighbors or relatives. Recognizing which individuals bring positivity and which ones drain our energy is vital for maintaining a peaceful, fulfilling life. By establishing boundaries, communicating openly, and prioritizing your well-being, you can navigate family and neighborhood dynamics more effectively, ensuring that your later years are marked by tranquility and genuine connection. Managing dependency in family dynamics. This arrangement can also lead to resentment if the dependent relative makes no efforts to change, instead settling into the support they receive from family. For those who have carefully planned for retirement or a quieter lifestyle, a dependent relative's needs can interrupt these plans and introduce unanticipated stress. A philosophy of empowerment and healthy boundaries, encouraging self-reliance, is one of the greatest gifts you can offer a dependent relative. While it may feel compassionate to provide ongoing support, long-term dependency can prevent them from achieving their own potential. When dealing with a lazy or dependent relative, set clear limits on the support you offer. Explain that while you are willing to assist them during times of need, you also expect them to take proactive steps towards self-sufficiency. Offer guidance, job resources, or even assistance in finding community programs that can provide additional help, but make it clear that your support is temporary. Empowering your relative to become more self-reliant will help them build confidence and preserve your own resources and peace of mind. Establishing boundaries in this way allows you to focus on maintaining a balanced and fulfilling life, knowing you've provided help without enabling dependency. Embracing distance for healthier family dynamics. Maintaining harmony in family relationships doesn't always mean staying close to every family member. Sometimes, both emotional and physical distance is necessary to protect our own well-being. By being selective with the relatives we allow into our inner circle, we ensure that the relationships we cultivate bring positivity, warmth, and mutual support. When relationships are draining, unbalanced, or even damaging, it's not only acceptable but wise to create some distance. The principles of self-respect, healthy boundaries, and personal peace guide these choices, helping you to foster a family environment that uplifts and honors the unique needs of each individual. In doing so, you create space for family bonds that are supportive, balanced, and enriching, bringing a true sense of connection and fulfillment. Remember, your well-being is invaluable. By respecting your own needs, you set a powerful example for others on the importance of nurturing relationships that contribute to a life well lived. Final thoughts. Protecting your peace by cultivating mindful boundaries. Navigating relationships with challenging neighbors requires a mix of awareness, patience, and purposeful boundary setting. As we age, prioritizing our mental and emotional well-being becomes increasingly important. While we cannot control the actions or personalities of those around us, we can certainly take proactive steps to protect our peace and foster a balanced, fulfilling life within our community. Here are some strategies to help you gracefully manage interactions with intrusive, self-serving, and disruptive neighbors. Set clear boundaries early. The first key to managing difficult neighbors is establishing boundaries from the beginning. Be friendly but avoid oversharing personal information, especially with neighbors who show signs of being overly curious or intrusive. Simple polite deflections like, "I prefer to keep that private," can signal that your life is not an open book without alienating them. Practice selective engagement for neighbors who frequently ask for favors or who primarily seek to benefit from your kindness. Selective engagement can prevent you from feeling overwhelmed. Say yes only when you genuinely want to and don't hesitate to decline politely if you're not comfortable. Saying no outright can be difficult, but a gentle excuse like, "I'm not able to help with that right now," works well. This approach preserves your energy and shows that your availability is not to be taken for granted. Address disruptive behavior calmly. Dealing with disruptive neighbors requires diplomacy and tact. If noise or behavioral issues arise, consider starting with a friendly, non-confrontational conversation to express your concerns. Frame your words around how their actions impact the neighborhood or your well-being, without sounding accusatory. Often, this approach encourages a more positive response. If issues persist, don't hesitate to involve community resources such as a neighborhood association or local council to address the matter constructively. Create personal sanctuary spaces. Even with all efforts, some neighbors may not change, so taking steps to create a sanctuary within your own home is invaluable. Soundproofing, designating a quiet area, or investing in noise-canceling devices can help shield you from disturbances. These small adjustments give you a sense of control over your environment and allow you to enjoy your space fully, regardless of external influences. Embrace the power of distance. Sometimes, the healthiest approach is to maintain a respectful distance. Good relationships with neighbors don't always require close bonds. In many cases, cordial greetings and limited interaction are enough to foster a harmonious environment. By keeping a comfortable distance, you protect your peace and ensure that your interactions remain positive and lighthearted. Living in harmony with neighbors is both an art and a practice, especially in our later years when peace, tranquility, and emotional well-being take center stage. Embracing selective engagement, setting boundaries, and creating sanctuary spaces within your home are all essential steps in maintaining the life balance you deserve. Remember, while neighborhood dynamics may fluctuate, your commitment to self-care remains constant. The goal is not to sever connections but to shape them thoughtfully, ensuring that your environment remains a haven. As you move forward, each interaction is an opportunity to reinforce your values and prioritize your comfort. Surround yourself with those who respect your boundaries and contribute to a mutually supportive community. Ultimately, creating a peaceful life is about honoring your needs, choosing wisely, and allowing yourself the freedom to find joy and fulfillment in the sanctuary of your own space. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Reflection. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.